WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish like bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's Selhurst. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, hello everyone. Oh yeah, JC, I think it is the person who clicks the actual button can see the viewers.
Yeah,
so,
I can't see it. So
okay,
I guess the theory is correct.
That must be what it is. So thank you all for tuning in this week, as I'm sure some of you do every week. Thank you all. Today we are looking at the Liverpool at home game. How do you feel about this one, JC? Oh, this is ridiculous.
This is, I'm good to be back on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to be back. I'm looking forward to it because it is Palace. We do love a good game for Palace. However, this is not going to be a good game for for what's going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Especially how we've been playing lately.
Yeah. And I think, when you're stuck in a rut and you're a bit low on confidence, I think playing the team that's got the most XG in the league and also the least XG against in the league is not. At least it's at home, I suppose. Like one thing definitely to consider is that they are playing in Europe. They are playing Champions League tomorrow. So I'm surprised they've actually got a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. So yeah, that's an interesting one, I think. But yeah, so I just don't know. Like I mean, we'll go into it later, obviously, but like honestly, I feel like this could be. Normally when I do these, I always come out of it thinking, oh yeah, you know what? I'm a little bit optimistic. Like if we do this, and that, we're good. But this one, I'm just like, oh, for fuck. I feel worse.
I am here to convince you.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm here to convince you.
Okay, well, I'm doing the attack and I feel worse, but JC's doing their defense and feels better. So that's always a good sign. That is a good sign.
Might be a brave face.
Hope, yeah. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the predicted 11 and the associated injuries that go with it.
So, injuries. Here we go. Liverpool, Harvey Elliott is the only one that's injured properly. Diogo Jota is not in the team tonight, I don't think.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Let me just double check that because the lineups are probably out now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are actually.
Oh, Liverpool playing tomorrow.
Sorry, they're playing tomorrow. Yeah, playing tomorrow now.
So yeah, apparently Jota's got a sort of ankle injury, so he's probably not playing. But it says he will return for, of course, our game, so he can dive at the goalkeeper once again. Harvey Elliott is obviously out with a proper injury, so he won't be in this game at all. However, Darwin Noodles is back from his illness, and Robertson is back as well. Looking at the Palace side of things, França, Decore, we really don't know about Chalobah. No one's really said anything about him, but he was on the bench last week. He has had a whole another week of training. It's going to be the third time in a row where I'm going to put him in my starting 11. And if he's not here, I'm putting Klein there.
Third time. To be fair, the first time I think he was actually injured. It turned out he had a knock or something.
I have no idea.
Well, I guess we'll find out on Friday when they do the presser.
So here we go. In goal, we've got Dean Henderson with Mitchell, Mark Gay on the left, Maxence Lacroix in the middle, and Trevor Chalobah on the right, with Daniel Munoz on the right wing back. Yes, this is the same back line that I picked for the last 3 weeks. I know, it's okay. In the middle, I've gone with Wharton Lerma, and up front, I've gone with a change. Ebbs on the left, and Nketiah on his own up top, with Ismail Sarr on the right. Dan, what are we saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I personally would want. Do I think that's going to happen? No. It's a shame. It's been
should we put what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's been 12 months since Roy, and I feel like not a lot's changed.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we're going to see Camardinho.
It just frustrates me so much.
We're going to see this, aren't
we? Yeah, that's what we're going to see, and I just don't like. For me, the issues in my opinion, the issues I have with this, not necessarily specifically against Liverpool, but I don't think Kamada's. I don't think he works in that 8 role. I think we need someone with a bit more energy,
strength,
someone, exactly, physicality. Maybe 6 months down the line, he could do a job there, but right now, it's not what we need. Mm-hmm. I also think, I also don't really like Gay in that middle centre back role. I think he's much better on the left.
Yeah, in the middle, you're sort of trapped. Whereas Gay excels pick out the ball moving forwards. And
exactly.
What Glasner likes is he likes the centre back of that side to push up, doesn't he? So Gay could excel here. And the thing is Chalobah did that as well for Chelsea. He scored from right centre back against us when he scored his first goal ever.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
So he can move up in that position as well. So this is what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a DM from from someone who watches the show every week. Big up yourself, Lou. I thought the way he set up the attack, actually, I thought was interesting. He actually swapped Eze and Sarr. So put a left-footed Sarr to maybe hold the width on the left-hand side. So an Eze, I guess, is kind of like he is on that right-hand side, but plays a lot more narrow. And then Munoz would be the one giving that width. What would you think about something like that? Would that have an impact, do you think, or do you prefer the other way around?
I think I prefer it the other way around because Sarr is so right-footed. He's not left-footed at all.
You know what? This whole time I thought he was left-footed.
No, I'm certain that he is extremely right-footed. He's like the opposite of Elise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure of it. Let me check it. One sec. Here's how we find. What was his good season at Watford?
Like 17, 18, I think.
And then 1920. Here we go. 1920. 5 goals. Those 5 goals were all with his right foot.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I don't know why I thought he was left. I just assumed he was left-footed.
See, I would keep Sarr on the right because I think he's very good at getting down the line and whipping the crosses in with his right foot. And Ebbs, I would say he's got a half-decent left foot, so he could go down the line using his left foot, but he can also cut in on his preferred foot on the right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Lovely. Right, sorry, carry on.
On to Liverpool. They play 4-2-1-3, so basically 4-2-3-1. But what's different about how they play it is obviously you've got Alisson, Robertson. I'm going to make a joke here, but he's probably going to drop a masterclass on us. Virgil van Delegate, and I'll tell you why I say that later.
I forgot about that. When you guys hear it, that is a brilliant nickname.
Kanate and Trent with McAllister, Gravenberch, and Soboslai. I got the pronunciation there.
Nice.
With a front three of Diaz, Salah, and I've gone with Noodles. up front here instead of Jota, purely because if he's come back from an ankle injury, I doubt he would start the first game.
Mhm.
Whereas Nunes just come back from like a cold or something, so I'm sure that he's probably fine to play.
Yeah, and I think he started he started the game before Wolves as well anyway. So I think maybe he's starting to prefer Nunez instead.
Yeah. There have been talks of like going around the press of Glasgow's thinking of going back to a 4 at the back to give us more options going forwards. I think this is the worst game possible to try this out. So I would definitely stick with the back 5 in this game because Dan's going to tell you that their attack is frightening. And yeah, that's about it. But
Also,
as you can see,
sorry.
is that their front 3 is very close together. They're not wingers. They're like right forward, left forward striker. So they're very narrow, and that's because I know Dan's going to talk about it. That the wing backs are going to make that width, basically.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I want to say, my piece on the formation, right, was where on the I don't know if people didn't see the last review, the Everton review. Go watch it for a start if you want a therapy session. But I don't think the system is the problem per se. Like, because I think the game when we started against Newcastle, at least they didn't start. Our back 3 was Richards, Anderson, and Klein. So I don't think it's necessarily playing at the 5 at the back that's bad, or the personnel that's bad. I don't know what it is. Well, maybe we'll talk about it a bit later. But that's my piece on it anyway. But without ranting too much, let's go on to Liverpool's attack. Right, before I crack on with that, just go through some comments very quickly. Big up yourself, Chairman. Big up Animal. Thank you for watching. Mateta, nobody better. To quote Rich a while back, he needs a kick in the a-hole. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, he's...
in there. That's a bit of a good shot, no?
I like that back line. Lerma and Wharton CM, Ebbs and Sarr in the 10, bringing Kamada on for Eva at a cup. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's what I will want as well. Only way we score is to do a counter and play 5 at the back without wing backs. Well, we'll see about that. Liverpool, great team, but they have holes we can expose. Yes. Yeah, hopefully. It's not the system. It's the players in the wrong positions. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Some of them are tuned for the roles that they've been given. We're lacking leadership. I want Joel Ward as captain. We're missing Joachim Andersen badly. Yeah, I think we are missing leaders. I don't think necessarily Anderson's the answer, but I do think there is that element to it. I do think, especially after Evans' first goal, I do think we kind of shrunk a little bit, to be honest. Mm-hmm. We needed someone to bring us back.
I do think we've got a different kind of leader, though, in Lacroix as well.
Yeah, I think so. Lacroix's not the kind of guy to back down as well. Like, I kind of feel like if we needed just a bit of shithousery, then I think he's that guy to kind of do that. I do think. And big up, Shay. Thank you for tuning in. Right. So let me share my screen. I understand. Proceed. I don't know why it asks me that every single time. Okay. So first things first, I'll take you just through some general stats for Liverpool's attack. So currently they rank second in the league for XG. They've got 12.4. So we play 6 games. They average more than 2 per game. Now, the interesting thing is they actually rank 6th for shots per 90. But they rank 3rd for expected goals per shot. So what that tells us is they don't necessarily take as many shots as you might expect, although they do take a lot. But the shots on average they do take are good chances. And it will make sense, actually, why that is a bit later. And at the moment, their players are pretty much finishing their chances. They're only minus 0.6 in terms of their expected goals compared to the amount of goals that they have scored this season. So they are on about, I think they're on 12 goals this season then. So they're a scary team, but does the play match it? So how do they play up? How do they play? So I think I'll start with how they build up from their goal. So when they build up from their goal, Alisson, who's very good on the ball, will be involved in the play. Now, generally what happens is Salah will keep the width on this build-up, and Diaz will also keep the width on that side. So it kind of look like that. And then Jota or whoever's there, or Nunez, will then move up kind of to the side. Szoboszlai normally goes on that side, with Szoboszlai moving up. And then the fullbacks move up a bit further. So pretty much like what you have is something that looks like this when the goalkeeper's got the ball. Kind of something like this when it's in their half. Now, they are very good with the ball, and they can play out of a lot of presses. Like, I didn't see many presses that were able to kind of dominate them. But generally, I think I'll come back to this a bit later. Generally, something I think that they do like to do quite evidently is that they like to get the ball into Gravenberch here, or whoever the DM is, which it's normally been Gravenberch. And Gravenberch will then turn. And that's, yeah. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, surely it's that simple then. Why don't we just cover this player? Well, if you're looking at this right now, sorry, this is a bit of a mess at the moment. So because like how their back line is. Now, admittedly, I've seen this against back fours, but because of the width of Salah and Diaz, the fullbacks or the wingbacks need to be alert to them, so they can't necessarily push up onto these players here. I mean, you could, but you're playing a very risky game if you're doing that instead. I don't know, maybe like, yeah. Well, anyway, without getting too far into it, generally they're going to be pushed back. Okay. Now, okay, but what? Okay, you're saying, well, what if they just put two players, say, here, which is something that other teams have done? Why don't they just do something like that? So the pivot is no longer there. Well, this does two things which helps Liverpool. Firstly, it means that there's more space on the width. Now, they're very happy to go down the wings, and there's a reason for this. And they do this kind of differently on each side of the pitch, which I'll talk about a bit later. But also what can happen is one of these three players here who are in the middle trying to make the defence a bit more narrow in this part of the pitch. What they can do is that sometimes they'll drop and then it'll kind of form like a double pivot instead. So then, they're trying to generate these overloads that I've spoken about in other videos, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't necessarily have to be McAllister. It could be Szoboszlai doing that. And I've even seen, won't necessarily be Jota this time, but Nunez will equally do the same thing. It'll be McAllister and Szoboszlai in these kind of areas. And these clever rotations is what pulls defenders out of the way, because you think about it. Let's say, let's put that back. So let's say Gravenberch was there, was back up there, Szoboszlai. So let's say, I don't know, we are doing this well. If number 8, say, is watching Szoboszlai, well, this player can move into there, and then generally the player will follow, because we're not necessarily a zonal team. We're a man marking team, and so therefore they're going to follow. Or even if they follow and they think, oh wait, hang on, this is a trap, then they're at least going to be out of position a little bit. So
I disagree slightly. I think we are a lot more zonal than we have been.
I think on a press, like at this part of the pitch, I don't think. I
Oh
think.
yeah, in a press we're definitely man to man, but when we're
So,
defending, it's definitely a bit more zonal.
oh yeah, over here is going to be totally different to over here. This is purely like this kind of third of the pitch at the moment. But yeah, so one of them will drop, a player will follow, and then that opens space in these kind of areas which they really like to hit. So that means both Van Dijk and Kanate are both very decent at picking out these passes, can ping a pass straight into there, and then immediately you've bypassed however many players and you're on an attack. Let me see what else I've done. Space wide, and yeah, if let's say that we don't bait into that. Let's say that doesn't happen. Okay, let's say we decide to go zonal on this particular day at this part of the pitch, and that doesn't work. Well, because of the amount of players that they've got in the middle, and because their wingers are kind of pinning our fullbacks back, it means that players like Robertson, or if it's on the other side of the pitch, potentially Trent Alexander-Arnold, are going to have a lot of space in these places. Now, obviously, if Trent gets the ball, he's very good at picking out passes. They're more than happy to exploit this space behind the line at any point. So it could be when they've got the ball here, or I'll talk about it again later, but it could be when they got the ball further up the pitch. But they're always happy to exploit this space in behind, always happy. If the direct pass is on, they will definitely take it, and it's how they scored their first goal against Bournemouth. Normally, and if they do normally do this, it will normally be, now I've seen this against back fours, so just bear with me here. Normally, it would be in this space here. Now, obviously, we've got a back five, so that's going to be quite useful to us that perhaps this lane here is shut off a bit more. But I guess they could always exploit here, or I don't know, let's say Salah drops a bit, our player follows, and then their player makes a run out wide, then that could be a problem. And the thing is as well, I feel like with Liverpool is that they've got so many strings to their bow that they're very multi-dimensional, so they very well could do that. And they've got the players who are smart enough and capable enough to kind of think, oh, that's going to get me some good reward, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so so they progress. So let's say they got the ball here, Szoboszlai moves up, blah, 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 they get the ball. Generally, if they can't then get into a transition, say with that ball over the top or quick play, what they tend to do is, so let's say we've dropped into our low block now, let's say about here. So we dropped in a low block. They're very good at moving things from left to right. And I think that's one of the main ways that they break down low blocks. So let's just move over to here. So they use Szoboszlai, I can't even say his name, Szoboszlai, and McAllister generally will move up, and this is how they'll make the pitch quite narrow, similar to how we do it with our forwards. Szoboszlai and McAllister kind of do that for them. And yeah, so now what I was saying about these wings doing different things. So on this side, so on the on their left-hand side of the pitch, they've got Robertson and Diaz. Now, Diaz very much prefers to run cut inside. Well, so does Salah, I suppose. But what Robertson will do, he'll either overlap or he'll underlap. So he's trying to exploit this space in here, basically. That's what he's trying to do. So let's say he does do that. He receives the ball over here. And let's say, everyone's shifted a little bit here. He's going to whip that ball into the box first time for someone to try and get on the end of it in this space here. Always does that, whether it's a overload or an underlap or an overlap, he will always try to do that. And the thing is, Liverpool are able to do this because of what I said about them being able to switch the play so quickly. So let's say they got the ball on this side, and we've moved over here, and we blah blah blah. We're doing our thing. Well, they move things very quickly. So let's say they're no way through. So McAllister might drop a couple of passes here, a couple of passes there, and they've moved the ball over there within like 3 passes. Like they're really quick. And in fact, they actually have the 3rd most switches of any team in the league. So that's obviously evident with their play in that too. And I think the reason why they do this is because they always want Salah and Diaz to have a one-on-one with whoever the fullback is. So they're happy for maybe Szoboszlai is occupying this player or Alexander-Arnold's Trent's doing that player or whatever. They want Salah and Diaz to have 1v1s against the fullbacks. And that's evident because they both rank in the top 15 for dribbles attempted in the league so far. So I think it's quite evident. And when you consider that they're not Liverpool on a particularly dribbly team, they take up pretty much like 50% of all their dribbles of the whole team. And actually, interestingly, they have the 2nd most shot creating actions that are take-ons, which again, because considering they're not a dribbly team, the fact that they have so many that end in shots suggests that when they dribble, it's because Salah and Diaz are going to be the ones trying to take a 1v1. And to be honest with you, I mean, you'd always back Salah or Diaz to beat someone in a 1v1. But whether this side is slightly different, Alexander-Arnold isn't going to run like to here and then whip it in. He's not going to do that. He's going to sit off kind of about here. Salah's going to pass him the ball, and then he's either going to ping a very nice cross in from deep, or we know he can also pick out through balls. Maybe Szoboszlai or Jota has made a run through a gap here,
Or Salah.
and then or Salah, and they're running through. What else do I have? So try to isolate Diaz. Yeah. He's deeper. Happy to under that. Oh, yeah. And then one thing as well on this side, I will say that Szoboszlai does tend to move over to this side to kind of create like an overload. I don't necessarily know why. I think it's because it kind of compensates for Trent's lack of overlapping or underlapping. And I think that's why. So Szoboszlai's happy to move out wide and Salah's happy to move inside. It's a good thing I've got a new phrase of saying that, so it's not pause anymore. And that's basically how that kind of happens, really. Another thing to watch out for, actually, that's a good stat for you. Liverpool complete 13% of their crosses into the box, which I think is very impressive, really, considering that most people's is not high like at all. And I think a lot of that is because Robertson does manage to get in behind and whip that pass in behind. So, how are we going to do this? How are we going to counter this? So, you know what? There are 2 teams, right, in the league so far this season that have conceded less than 2 XG to Liverpool so far this season. Who do you think those 2 teams are, JC?
Who have they played? Wait.
So they've played Ipswich, Brentford, Man United, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, and Wolves in the league.
So less than 2 XG.
Less than 2. Only 2 of those teams have done that. And go on.
I mean, I think one is going to be Arsenal.
They haven't played Arsenal. They played Ipswich on the first day.
Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. Oops. Okay. I'm going to go Brentford and Ipswich.
Oh, no. They conceded 2.6 and 2.5.
Mm.
The first one was Man United, but I've got a hunch just because they were 3-0 up within 37 minutes. So I think after that, they probably couldn't be bothered. And then the other one was Nottingham Forest at Anfield. 0.9 XG Liverpool created against them.
Oh,
So you know
watched the
what? I
highlights
thought,
of that, and they looked like they killed him.
well, but I think, I mean, the
Or was the
XG
shots just very low XG?
they were low XG, and to be fair, I think all the ones on the highlights were there. Like the first 30 minutes, yeah, Liverpool run them ragged, but after that, they didn't concede anything with an XG above 0.07 after 29 minutes.
Oh wow!
So all those chances, I think, were the first like 30 minutes of the game. So I remember watching the highlights as well. But so what can we do to, because XG Forest are either on our level or not far off our level, let's be honest. So what can we do? So what did they do? First thing first, they didn't really allow this space in behind for starters. Okay. So let's move them back. Now, what they did do was to compensate for these crossing threats from Robertson, and Trent from deep. They had a lot of players who, in this central area here, so like it said they played a back four, but a lot of the time they were basically playing a back five in that game. And there was a lot of concentration of players here to compensate for the players that were in the box. So that's the first thing that they did. Also, you know what I said about how they want Salah and Diaz to have those 1v1 situations. Well, we just got to be organised and just make sure they don't get it, basically. I know it sounds easier said than done, but I think the way you can do that is it okay, let's say they are on this side, right? And we've got our defensive overload. Like, I don't know. Let's say we're defending a bit more like that. Let's say, okay. So where we have one of the centre mids, so I don't know, Lerma, and then this is whoever be on the right hand side. So I don't know, Kamada or Sarr or whoever. So then you got a 3v2. Okay, but Dan, you said that they switch to play really quickly. Well, they do. But we just got to be mindful of how they're going to do it. So I think, let's say that they do pass it to, say, Gravenberch. Whoever this player is just needs to make sure Gravenberch receives the ball and can't turn. We just got to slow them down, in effect. Because if we slow them down, then that gives us time to then set ourselves up like this on the other side. And again, same thing. If we just either stop that cross coming in, or just stop any gaps in these diagonal balls into here, then it's going to force them back again. And if we slow them down, then again, it's going to be the same thing on the other side. We just move back to where we were, and we contain them, and we slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think that's one way to do it. Also, as well, Nottingham Forest were extremely organised, and there's only marked passing lanes. So again, let's say Gravenberch got the ball here and he turns. Let's say Diaz moves inside there. We need to make sure that we're covering this passing lane to McAllister. Maybe passing, if Szoboszlai drops, we've got to pass that passing lane here. And whoever the centre forward is going to have a really big role in this. So hopefully it's not Mateo, because otherwise he won't move. So we've got to make sure that these lanes are blocked. Because if Szoboszlai drops, they've got to be attuned to that and block that lane. Okay, that's what we've got to do. Also, I think we need to not step too quickly, because if we are, say, in this position here, and I don't know, let's say Gravenberch does get the ball here, we need to, actually maybe not Gravenberch so much, but certainly on the wings, we got Robertson or someone like that. We need to make sure we're not diving in too quickly. Just, again, we're just slowing them down. We're not necessarily trying to win the ball and try and hit them. We just need to slow them down, I think. And from what I saw, what Forest did, the only time they had joy in maybe actually stepping on them a bit quicker was when they were in the mid block. So when they were a bit further up over here, that's when they had a bit more joy. But when they're in the low block over here, just sit, contain, and just make sure you don't get caught out. Make sure you don't allow those 1v1s with Diaz and Salah. Obviously, that would be massively helped if we are playing players who are good 1v1 defenders. That's why I really hope Chalobah plays, because Chalobah is a really good 1v1 defender. And that's why him against Diaz, I would actually kind of back Chalobah to sort him out. Mitchell, from memory, I feel like Mitchell was pretty good at locking down Salah. And am I right?
I remember him on his.
Or is it the other way around?
Salah.
I can't remember if he's either really bad or really good at locking.
Really bad. I know that Salah's all. I think Salah. He's not far off of Mane's record against us. I know he scores pretty often against us.
Okay, fair enough. But again, that would be nice to have Gay over there then. Or maybe rather than using the other, maybe attacking midfielder, maybe the centre-back goes over there instead. I don't know, but we need to make sure we have defensive overloads on those wings, in my opinion.
Another reason why I think Lerma should be in this team apart from Kamada.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think Lerma's got that energy. He's better in the air. He's still good on the ball as well. And yeah, that's Liverpool in a nutshell. As you can tell, the thing is, I always say this against like teams like this. You also need luck. Like, don't get me wrong, Forest defended very well, but they were lucky that Liverpool weren't quite on it, because there are a few situations that don't show up in the stats where if a better pass had happened, then they would have had a good chance. So whilst, yes, they did only concede 0.9, there was a bit of fortune with Liverpool not necessarily being so good. And I think us then playing 12:30 on a Saturday, they've played in Europe on a Wednesday. And I think who are they playing as well?
They are playing against
Bologna.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how that's going to go, but I think we need to take all the luck we can get with something.
But then again, you have to remember that they have got a 2-week break after our game until they play another game, so they could just go all out in both games and just rest them.
Yeah, they could do. But yeah, we'll definitely need luck. I mean, let's not beat around the bush as well. Like, yes, we beat them 1-0 last time, but the amount of chances they had, it could have been like 3-1 to them. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, of course.
So it sounds a bit downbeat, but that's what it is. But yeah, any thoughts on any of that? Let me.
There's going to be goals in this game, whether that's 4 against us. I'm just afraid of the overloads, and to be fair, I'm a little bit afraid of leaving Munoz 1-on-1 against his Colombian teammate Diaz.
Yeah,
because we know that obviously he's had more practice against him because he's trained with him for the national team, but it's the fact that this game, even though we are playing a 5-back, Munoz is more likely actually going to be playing more fullback, and his defending's not the best. Let's be real. And against Diaz, who's very comfortable with going both ways, I think he's going to cause a lot of problems, because the same way how Munoz trains against him, Diaz also trains against Munoz, so he knows that his weaker side is his left side, so he's going to just come inside every single time. So,
But actually, you know what? That does remind me. So you saying that does actually remind me of a point that I did forget to say.
Oh yeah,
that they do, like, they're very, they're very good at pinning. No, they're very good at pinning the opposition in. Like, they're really good at doing that. So the way that they play, like, inevitably Mitchell, like you said, Mitchell and Munoz are basically going to be fullbacks rather than wing backs. And obviously, when you're like that, it's really difficult to get out.
Yeah,
They're very good at pressing as well. So it's going to be a long day. Yeah, but let's. I'll just hit some comments and then we'll move on to how we could maybe counter and inshallah.
He's ruined it.
Right. Wardy is captain. He's just a mini metro. Mini metro. Remember to hit the like. Thank you very much.
Thank
Shay.
you very much, Shay.
Appreciate that. Why aren't we scoring goals? We could do an entire stream just about that. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to touch on it a little bit. Just a little bit.
Ebbs is slowing play down. He's finally become predictable. Nketiah isn't a 10. Doesn't take the wide spaces linking up with Munoz. That all affects Mateta's service, basically, Gaurav.
Summed it up.
Yeah, that is a good summary. Personally, I feel Liverpool is a perfect matchup for us to pick up our first 3 points. I hope that's sarcasm, spiritual. But, I mean, that's what happened last season, so maybe. But
we already smashed Burnley, though, so we already knew things were going up.
Yeah, true. Make Eze captain. It worked with Wilf. I don't know.
Eze ain't got the same drive that Wilf had.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're not quite the same. Don't reward underachievers. Is that with
Eze?
Oh right, yeah. Oh right, yeah, fair. Eze also needs Wilf's score of anger management. Get angry, bro.
So we had one guy that was too angry and one guy that just doesn't care.
Yeah. And then Ebbs needs to show some passion, some drive, better decision making too. Look, I'm not going to go on a long thing about this, but I think his confidence is just completely shot to pieces. I think he was expecting to move in the summer and like no one's come for him. Do you know what I mean? It would be like going on Tinder and getting like 0 matches for like 5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Is that time from experience?
No, it's not. But like, you know, like being built up, and also like there was talks about like him being linked with like City as well and stuff like that. And it's like, I imagine it shot his confidence. Also, we have this thing where players go to England, never come back as good. And obviously like he's missing chances. I think it all feeds into itself personally, but yeah. Mm-hmm. But without further ado, we'll move on to Liverpool's defence and how we can attack them.
So, I'll let you guys know now. This is not going to be as long as what Dan was talking about. So, let's get straight into it. Liverpool have conceded the least amount of goals for any team so far in this Premier League. They've only conceded 2 goals. The 1-0 loss against Forest, 2-1 against Wolves that literally just happened. So, how do they do it? They do it because they're very well organized within their high line, let's say. So they try and defend, I guess, as little as possible. But the reason why this happens is because it leads sort of into what Dan was saying. They want to have as much space as possible so they retain the ball as much as possible so that they don't really have to do too much defending, full stop. They do like a little bit of a high line, but I've moved it back a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit clearer here. One thing that I did find quite interesting, and it'll probably lead into this a little bit more later, is that the 2 centre-backs are very happy to give someone space if they're dribbling. So say if Nketiah's got the ball here and he's dribbling towards these guys, both of them would just move back, and expect either the fullback to come across and get the ball or have a midfielder come across and get the ball. But they're very happy to just allow this sort of situation to just progress until they get into the box. And then when they get into the box, then they'll step up and make it almost impossible to dribble through. However, I know that we have been talking a little bit of smack about Eze here, but in that kind of situation where all of a sudden someone steps towards you instead of backs up, he's the guy that you want especially if he's got a little bit of confidence. He's the guy you want to make that split second decision to either jink right, jink left, or put it through your legs, because he's done it a few times already this season. They do like to defend the half spaces without the fullbacks, which is a little bit of a strange one, with the midfielders cutting back and sort of taking this sort of position. So with Slot, he wants the fullbacks to be as wide as possible all the time. And because he sort of plays a two-man midfield, because Szoboszlai goes into the strike force, he wants these midfielders to stretch and cover the half space, which would have been left here, but it's going to be here. When they are actually caught on the break, and we saw this against Bournemouth, funny enough. So let's say Nketiah is who was it? It was Semenyo. So he had the ball here, dribbling towards these guys. These guys, as we said, they were moving back. Got to about here, and then all of a sudden, Van Dijk stepped up, as you would do. Semenyo went to the right, so opposite way, and because of that, Konate committed himself across, and then they swapped positions, and then obviously they reset after their next set piece. This is quite interesting that they will like to follow a dribbler and then swap positions afterwards. So there have been multiple times where in one clip the centre backs are this way around, and then literally the next clip they're back around here again, and then obviously you'd see the same thing. So maybe Van Dijk would commit himself a little bit earlier. They would sort of run this way, and then Konate would slot in over here, let's say. So they're very sort of fluid with how they're moving. They want to get as many people behind the ball as possible, but they want to keep as many players outside of the defending third as possible as well. So they always have outlets. Like Gravenberch is always probably the sole one that wants to be the bridge from the defense into the midfield, but then McAllister's always the one that's sort of the bridge between the midfield and the strikers, let's say. So that's quite interesting. Also, I do think that they are very good at defending cutbacks as well. So McAllister and Gravenberch are very, very good at holding their positions. And if a run like this is happening, let's say Eze's gone here, and Nketiah has picked up a good space in the box, the ball's come in, they're very good in blocking out someone getting that last touch within the box. They're very good at intercepting it, getting it out, heading clearing your lines, basically. And finally, I know Dan said it a little bit earlier, but I sort of have to mention it again here because it is kind of defending. The pressing that these guys do up front, if we're not on it, if our passes aren't coming off, if we're rolling passes to each other, like certain someone was doing to Eze in the game, they're going to intercept everything. And I think that they've got the third highest in the league where it's I can't remember what the stat is, but it's, you know, when you intercept the ball and then it's one pass and then it leads to a shot, and it's shot creating actions.
Yeah. That's it.
And I think most of that is purely because of their pressing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they defend. Very structured, very solid, but structured in a fluid way, which is nice, I guess. If you're a big team, you want to see expansive football, and that's exactly what Arne Slot is bringing to Liverpool. But the first thing I actually want to talk about when we talk about how do we defeat Liverpool or how do we play against Liverpool and hope for the best, apart from what Dan said, kick ball long and inshallah, how do you beat Liverpool? So I agree with what Kevin said earlier. The system isn't wrong. It's the players. I think that if you solve what's wrong with Palace, what's wrong with the players, I feel like you get the best out of this Liverpool game. And I mean it with be aggressive, be fast, be decisive, express yourself, and be confident. And I say that because how Nottingham Forest made this chance, let's say, and they're making chances like this like 2 or 3 times in the game. So even though they only made 2 chances like this, they actually scored one of them. So they took their chances as well. And that's what I mean by being confident in front of goal. So here is Forest actually beating Liverpool here. And I feel like this whole sequence of events just shows exactly what we are missing and what we used to do to people last season.
Mm-hmm.
So, as Dan said, let me get on to my Photoshop. This was actually where's my photo? Oh. This was actually a pass going from Van Dijk here, trying to probe a ball all the way over here, but that didn't work. Got cut out here, and what Dan said, they were there trying to cut out the passing lanes, this, that. Great. He takes a touch forwards. He comes across, he's following, so they're definitely following the ball and they're being proactive. And he passes the ball over to this player here. The next slide. This is what I mean by they're playing with intensity now. This player doesn't even take a touch. The first thing he does is pops it down here to Hudson-Odoi, who's already on the move. And this is where we're going to see the similarities and the differences between Hudson-Odoi and Eze. Hudson-Odoi's first touch is an aggressive touch, leaving Bradley in no man's land. Granted, Eze will be playing against Trent, who's a much better defender than most people actually think. People think he's a useless defender. He's actually not. He's actually all right. But comparing him to Bradley, heaven and hell different. However, Hudson-Odoi here, being confident, being aggressive, taking a heavy touch and using his athletic ability to just absolutely run away from him. Look, he's made a good gap between the two. It's a gap where he's close enough that Konate isn't going to commit himself as of right now. So he's made a lot of space and he's made a hell of a lot of ground. And you can see committing. So you've got 3 people committing on the other side of the pitch all the way forwards. He's gotten to a good position where Konate has actually started he sort of started about here, he sort of drifted across. And then when it got to a good position, let me move this, Hudson-Odoi has flinged a nice ball across the floor here into Woods. I mean, not Woods, into Wood, who's taken one touch and laid it off to Morgan Gibbs-White, who's just appearing here on the right side of the screen. Pops it back to him. One touch straight into Elanga's running action, and he's taken a touch and had a shot. Granted, this shot did this, but still, you see the intensity here. You see the passion. You see the desire to score. Everything that we've just been missing completely this season. And literally going back to our last game, it's not bar for bar, word for word, exactly what happened here. But literally, just check this. Eze here, you can see Mitchell making a run here. Thinking, that's a nice little ball in behind there. Mitchell could get there, whip it across. You've got 2 people in the box. You make a chance there. However, this is Eze we're talking about. Dan, what do you think his first touch is here?
Who? Eze's?
Eze.
He probably can't remember, but knowing him, at the moment he probably touched it and went backwards.
Oh, you are right.
Oh, what a shock!
Mitchell's so far offside; he's not even in shot here. Mark, this is Mark. He's so fed up that he's actually spun around. He thought, "Let me get the ball, just And do you know what Eze did from this position? Thinking, he might have popped it to Mark, might have popped it into Schlupp here to then lay it off to Sarr to have a shot, maybe even lay it off to Mateta, then back to Sarr.
Or even a 1-2 with, just a 1-2 with him and himself. What
do you think he actually did?
It's just depressing, isn't it? Probably passed it to defender behind Mark.
No, he thought Hail Mary, bopped it to Munoz, sent it straight out for a goal kick.
Oh, God.
And that's Forest against the same team we're trying to play against now. Everything that we're missing is all to do with the players. We can't be blaming Glasner for this one because the players aren't on it. Eze's definitely not on it. Low in confidence, I 100% agree with you, but the whole team is just not playing with any intensity, no passion.
Absolutely.
And we need to be aggressive. We need to, like, for example, something as simple as passing. With Kamada just rolling the ball to Eze, granted, Eze shouldn't be backpedaling as much as he was. But that ball's got to get fired into him. Ashley Young's come from a long way back. Granted, it's great interception from him and great reading of the game. I need to put that out there from Ashley Young. Great reading of the game to actually get in front of Eze there. But still, that ball, he should have never got anywhere near it. He really shouldn't.
Yeah, I think, do you know what the irony is as well? I thought that pass is exactly the type of pass that we should be making as well. Just the execution just was like, it's not that.
It was a good pass for Eze to pick up the ball, turn and run. But was it turn and run if he actually made it? Probably not.
No. But I wonder if, like, maybe, obviously I know this isn't about the Everton game, but I do wonder if, you know, we've tried, like, we've looked so devoid of confidence, and like we just don't, for whatever reason, like we're not doing the same type of passing, same type of build up as we were doing last season. Like, and again, like it's not the formation, it's not the players, because we played the same formation with arguably worse players last season, and we still beat teams like Newcastle. So
and Liverpool.
And Liverpool. And I think the fact that and like I think for me the bit that characterized that Everton game so much and our play so much was Mark was in the middle, right? He had Wharton just ahead of him, and I think Lermont or whoever the other centre midfielder was at the time over there. And he literally went, you know, when like players look like they're about to part, like they lift their foot and like, but they stop it, and then did that about 3 or 4 times. It's like if that was last season, that would have been fired into Wharton. He would have maybe passed it back to him. That would have drawn a defender out, created space. We're just not doing that. And I think, and I think that goal, Everton's first goal, completely destroyed us. I genuinely think that, because you think we're devoid of confidence. They finally do a pass that they should be doing. Well, to be fair, we played all right to that point, but we're doing a pass that we should be doing. It gets intercepted because it's a bad pass / not good reading of the game. And then we back off, and then McNeil scores a goal that we probably concede once or twice in a season. And then they're probably thinking, oh, here we go again. And then, you know, then we're back to panic stations again.
100%. But how do we actually try and beat Liverpool? And I'm saying this bearing in mind we're actually doing exactly what we're talking about. We're trying to be intense. We're trying to be aggressive, blah, blah, blah. This is a game where our close-knit front three could come in extremely handy. And I say that because as I've set up my team and also how Dan set up his team, you can tell something very, very distinct with their backline. The centre-backs are very close together. However, there's a lot of width between the fullbacks. Dan, what are we seeing?
Well, you need to, exploit that half space, those half spaces, really.
You need to exploit those half spaces. This is why Ismail Sarr and Nketiah up front is key for me personally in this game. Having the ability to, in Sarr's case, definitely outrun Robertson in this space to maybe get a ball in behind him, run into it as well. Very, very, very important. But what I think is the most important is, remember what we said about dribbling. I think that in a situation where we are on the break, if Eze has the ball here, I could see something a little bit crazy happen, but I think it could work. Obviously, let's move him over here so I don't pick him up. Let's say we get on the break and we're actually running at them with pace here. So they're moving back, they're moving back, they're moving back. Fullbacks are closing in. And then what you see is these diagonal runs that Nketiah loves to do. If he's pulled out here, he's with Konate here. If he starts making that diagonal run towards Van Dijk, can you see what's happening here, Dan?
Get some nice space by Sarr, yeah.
Sarr can make his space here. The ball will come in, and Sarr can have a nice right-footed shot, which he's right-footed, across the goalkeeper here. And because of what we said about these centre-backs, they love to follow the person who's dribbling. They like to swap positions. However, if they're being scrunched into a small space, they both stand and occupy the same space. So it leaves loads of space elsewhere to pick up a man inside the box and have a shooting opportunity. But with Crystal Palace right now, we would be in this opportunity and pass. That's not right. We need to get here and shoot the hell out of it. If it goes over the bar, who cares? Just shoot. Get it on target. I don't care. We need to shoot more. Obviously, we've got one of the worst conversion rates in the league. The only way you're going to get a better conversion rate is shooting more. And if you shoot more, you'll score more. If you score more, you get more confidence. You score more goals. It's just how football works. Wharton's going to be important in this game just to dictate the play, allow counter-attacks, allow transitions like this to happen. If he cuts out that pass from Gravenberch to Salah, he could easily ping that ball to Eze to then start this whole move that we just spoke about here. Confidence is key. You have to try and play through this press. And if you can't, Lacroix can pick a good pass long and Sarr just has to hit the corners. He can beat Robertson in the air, but he has to just draw out wide, hit the corners, because you're not going to get the ball to Nketiah with Van Dijk and Konate, who are probably some of the most aerially dominant players in the league right now. But yeah, try and expose them in the transition. Confidence is key, and hopefully we can try and drag the defenders all over the place, and hopefully we can bend it to our will so we can score some goals. Anything that you'd want to add or say to that, Dan?
No, I think that was a really great summary. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game, but
does it? Here's my question from what you said at the start. Does my explanation give you a little bit more confidence than you had at the start of the stream?
Yes, if Sarr started,
it's all in hindsight. Everything I just said is in hindsight.
If that front three starts, then yes. But I don't think they're going to start. Like when you hear my score prediction, I don't think anyone's going to be happy. Put it that way.
All right.
Okay. Well, talking about that, I'm going 4-0 Liverpool. I think we're getting smashed. I like Liverpool are just so good at the moment, and like their attack is so good. And whilst I think that situation could happen, I just don't think we'll take it right now. Right, actually, wait. One sec. Let me. Wait, how do I do it again? Let me just add something for a second. Right, I'm going to tap the sign if I can find it. Where is the sign? Oh crap! Where's the sign?
While Dan tries to find the sign, I'm going to go 3-0 to Liverpool.
3-0 to Liverpool.
Because I agree with you. I think we'll get ourselves into this chance, but we're going to pass the damn ball. We're not going to shoot.
No, we won't.
And also, they're just going to be all over us this game. Salah always plays well at Selhurst Park. Luis Diaz is on top form right now. And also, they conceded 2 goals all season.
Yeah.
They've played some good teams. They've played some good attacking teams as well. And ain't no way we're keeping a clean sheet. We're not scoring either.
No. And I know Forest played well, but for them to win, from memory, Hudson-Odoi's goal was a banger. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, of course. It was an absolute screamer.
Yeah. So that's all I can say.
That's where the luck comes into it as well. Like as Dan said, we have to be lucky with how we defend against them. Like we need to be on our game. Everyone needs to be on top form. But we also have to get the same luck going forwards as well. Like beating a big team is just a lucky occasion. It really is. It doesn't happen every day for us.
No, definitely. And here I've found the sign, so I'm going to tap the sign. Oh, it didn't automatically do that. It auto does it. That is. Oh, what? Oh, it never does it properly.
What have you done?
Oh, that's a screenshot of the conversion rate of chances in the league. We aren't
minus,
actually.
what was that, minus 3.5?
No, sorry, it didn't do it. 3.7, which is the same as Southampton, who are cut off below us. Man United are bottom. So we are third bottom in the league for converting our chances.
Nice.
And look at that non-expected goals per shot, 0.08.
Oh,
That is horrific.
we are a goal monster. We are scared
That,
of it.
that is horrific. But just round out with some comments before we leave. Animal is sick of the requirements that comes with Eze playing football. He needs Elise. He thought he was leaving now and he's sulking. Referring back to what I said about Newcastle, Elise didn't start that game and we won that game. In fact, I'm fairly sure when we beat Liverpool, Elise was still injured.
No, he played.
He did play.
He put the ball through to Mitchell to then cut it back.
Oh, yeah, of course he did. Sorry, I'm being an idiot. But Newcastle, he definitely didn't start. So I don't think he necessarily needs it. I think his confidence is shot to bits, in my honest opinion. I want to see a better game from Ebbs. Trust players around him. He's going to frustrate again, pick up the ball in our half and not getting out. Yeah, I think the same. Big up, Rich. My prediction is the same as every year. 3-3 for the lulz. I will take that all day long. By God, that's Dwight Gale's music. And it was very Ebbs hat trick.
You know what? If he bangs a hat trick after all the slander he's been getting, I rate it.
I think Henderson's more likely to get a hat trick, to be honest. But
Hui.
sorry, Ebbs. But anyways, thank you all for watching. And especially now it's 8 minutes into the Champions League games. But of course, I know you'd rather be here with us talking about how Crystal Palace probably won't win against Liverpool. But anyways, thank you all for watching. JC, is there anything you want to say before we depart?
Cheese rolls.
Egos.
Egos. Sweet.
It's done that thing again. I swear, does it say
What?
end stream at the bottom?
Yeah. The thing's still going. Hello.